Today I'm going to be talking about Savatage, an underrated band, an awesome band. Some of you have probably been fans of them for a long time. Some of you have probably discovered them through YouTube videos. I'm going to be completely honest. I discovered him by watching the Headbangers Ball. I saw the music video for Hall of the Mountain King in 1987. It's off of this album, Hall of the Mountain King. And it's an awesome album. Savatage fans are really... I know they say this about a lot of bands, but Savatage fans are the kind of fans that are really into Savatage. I guess there's some people that just think they're okay. But one of the things that a lot of people agree is that they're underrated. They're underrated, and that's one of the things about the group that, annoys the heck out of people. Of course, Trans-Siberian Orchestra has gained some popularity. That's kind of cool and neat. I'll get into that a little bit later. But once I got into them, it wasn't until like probably, 89, 1990. They came out with Gutter Ballet. I thought that was cool and neat. Street Rock Opera. That one was alright. I really liked Savatage. I liked that whole orchestra theme, strings, way before any of these, which I'll put up way before any of those other bands that did the Guns N' Roses everything, the Aerosmith one, the Kiss one, the Guns N' Roses, and of course there's a couple of more. But so many of the other bands have done that symphony thing where these guys were kind of doing it first. And of course, thanks to Paul O'Neill. Paul O'Neill was the producer off this album, and he was a co-writer, and he has co-written a lot of songs with them, and then produced the next several albums. So the next several albums were really awesome. So during the early 90s, as I mentioned before, there was just that dry period and point where there wasn't like a lot of new music coming out. A lot of the new music from newer bands sucked, and of course a lot of the newer albums from older bands wasn't that great. There was just something about it. It was just started to actually suck. So once again, I started to dig back, and I started to look back and then get other albums. About Fight for the Rock, one of the first ones, and about that like in 88 or beginning of 89, I can't remember. But check it out, here it is. See, it's a little play off that Iwo Jima picture thing there. They did that. And the guys in Savatage said they really weren't wild about that album. Song-wise, it was. And of course, Sirens. Sirens, I didn't even hear at all until, of course, I'll admit, until once the YouTube thing was happening. So I discovered Sirens through YouTube. I'll admit that. I had no idea that they had, there really wasn't much. Whenever the band came on, because they did an interview on Headbangers Ball, and then there was sometimes in magazines, little articles on Savatage, but there wasn't much. See, that's one of the main things why, how and where people are saying, how and why people are saying that they're underrated. They didn't get much publicity. And guitarists like Chris Alova, who was an awesome guitarist, they didn't put him on a guitar magazine. I understand there's some guitarists that belong on the guitar magazines between 87 and 97, let's say for example, who belong to be on there, who deserve to be on there. And Chris Alova, but we're not talking about guitar magazines. I will get into that in a whole other video. But Sirens I discovered later. Power of the Night I did get on tape. Power of the Night and Fight for the Rock were kind of like weird ones. But Hall of the Mountain King, just the song itself, and you heard in the intro, I hope I don't get a copyright claim for that. I did on that Juice Priest video. But that song is just an amazing song. It's a powerful song. The video fits it perfectly. They had that kind of theme and feel to them. Okay, so I got Gutter Ballet when it came out. Gutter Ballet was another really cool one. There's some, When the Crowds Are Gone. Gutter Ballet is an awesome song. When the Crowds Are Gone, it's just this really beautiful, cool, I don't call it beautiful, but really cool emotional piece that is just, it's an awesome song. And it's just a perfect example of like what Savatage is about, and of course how Trans-Siberian Orchestra came to be. So people who are fans of Trans-Siberian Orchestra and then discover Savatage later, especially those albums, those main 3 albums, they'll be like, oh yeah, I see how, where that came from and where they got that. Once again, this leads into the whole not getting enough publicity and stuff, because MTV really wasn't talking about these guys at all. And then, of course, the Headbangers Ball is where you would expect to find, you know, hear some news and stuff like that. Nope, not in the magazines or anything. I didn't see anything in Hit Parade or Circus. Maybe they mentioned it in Krang, maybe they mentioned it in one of those other magazines, but I didn't see anything. But after Streets, and it was in 91, so by 93 they came out with Edge of Thorns. And then boom, okay, here's a new Savatage video. I see the beginning for Edge of Thorns. Oh, cool, Savatage, Edge of Thorns. Cool, they have a new one. That's how you found out sometimes when bands had a new album. I mean, a lot of times they would mention it in Circus, Hit Parade, depending on the band's, once again, depending on the band's popularity. But, not for Savatage, nope, it was just boom. Here's a new video, Edge of Thorns. They didn't world premiere it. Ricky Rackman didn't say anything about it. They just showed it. So, I was like, okay, cool, Edge of Thorns, new Savatage, let's check it out. And I'm going, what the heck? I'm like, that's not John Lova. And of course it was Zachary Stevens, who of course I had no idea who the heck he was at the time. So I'm like, what the freak, well come on, what the heck? And then of course I read, you know, I find out later, years later and whatnot, research that I did, of course. He left the band to go form or work on a solo project, Dr. Butcher. Dr. Butcher, Circle to Circle, what the heck, freaking even Trans-Siberian Orchestra, who I do kind of like. Screw all those other freaking side project bands. It's supposed to be mainly just Savatage. That's what fans wanted to hear, and that's what fans like. I don't see how and why. I mean, don't really care about Circle to Circle whatsoever. But John Lova's Pain, and then Dr. Butcher was like, what the heck? I just don't understand why he did that, because the Edge of Thorns, Chris Lova is still around and he's on that tape. So he even left before that. So some people can't use the excuse when he lost his brother, this, that. You know, Chris Lova was still around and still in the band. So I don't know why he did that. A very stupid move on his part. It just really didn't make any sense. So I really wasn't bothered about Edge of Thorns. I didn't even get it. Didn't even bother. Once 1994 hit, and once again, you know, the 90s and how the 90s sucked, I saw that, here we go, Savatage has a new album out. It was actually a full color page ad this time, where I saw. And the fact that Alex Skolnick, and of course was a Testament fan, so the fact that Alex Skolnick left Testament sucked, but hey, he was in Savatage, and I gotta check this one out. For some weird reason, it was the ending of 93 actually, but throughout 94 I was listening to it like crazy. And of course, here's a piece of it right here. I will play a piece of that. So, Handful of Rain, Taunt and Cobra's Handful of Rain, Chance, the songs off here are magical. I really love this album. If you're not wild about Zachary Stevens, or if you like Savatage, but kind of just didn't give that one a good listen, I really recommend it. Handful of Rain is an awesome one. It's so powerful. It's my favorite, you know, non-John Lova Savatage album. It's an awesome album. I just love that. So the next one, which was, wait a minute again. Nope, Dead, I don't even have to look at the card. It was Dead Winter Dead, and once again Zachary Stevens, and of course new guitarists and stuff. And I kind of liked that one. There was a couple of songs on there, and of course John Lova is singing on a couple of songs on there, so that was cool. John Lova is singing on I Am, and one of the other ones, too long is like my other videos. The band was called Avatar, and of course they're from somewhere in Florida? Somewhere in Florida, near Tampa Bay, something with a T. I'm going to have to look at the card, and I don't give a shit if you see me looking at the card. Where the hell are they from? They're from friggin' Florida. It was near Tampa Bay, Florida. Who cares? Anyways, it was just an awesome sound. It was an awesome song. Oh, Dead Winter Dead in 1995. I thought that one was pretty cool. The Wake of Milligan. I have to read it again. Magellan. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Really cool cover on that one, even with the winter one. That one came out in 97. I got that one too, and I thought that one was okay. It took a little while to get used to it. That one's a strange one. And then, of course, Poets and Madmen. But once Poets and Madmen came out, that's it. But my point is, what I'm getting at here is they reformed in 2014. Now, I know Trans-Siberian Orchestra, there's 2 versions of it and all this other jazz, but I understand they're doing that, and they're making money off that, and they made money off that. That's cool and great. I have some Trans-Siberian Orchestra CDs too. The Attic one, and then Fireflies one, or Night Flies, or Christmas Winter, what the heck ever. So I like those, but I'm just kind of curious on how much, if they reformed since 2014, 15, 16, you know, to 1921 we're here, 1921, holy shit, I'm talking too fast. It's 2021 right now. It's been like 6 years. So if they reformed since like 6 years, how come they haven't put out anything? How come there's no news on them working on anything? That's what I was expecting, hoping, and wanting. The other guitarists and Johnny Lee Middleton, the bass player, even of course bringing up Steve Wartzkotz or Dr. Kildrum, the original drummer back, and just having it to where, I mean, even Alice Skull, I don't care who the heck's on him, as long as it's mainly John Oliva, and he's singing on it, and then it's an awesome one, you know. And Savatage from Florida. I'll put the thing down here because I forgot the dang name, but the name of the band was called Avatar, and then of course I have to look at the card, forgive me. Savatage. They put Savatage, and I'm like, oh no, that sounds kind of corny or whatever. Avatar, Savatage, how about Savatage? So that's how they came up with the name Savatage. And once again, I think this band is awesome. It's an underrated band. If you've been a fan for the band for a long time, I'm sure you're probably thinking like me. You want another really cool Savatage album. You want to hear that greatness and awesomeness come out with heavy sound, but, you know, orchestrated the violins and the whole, you know, pianos and everything else. And you want them to recreate the masterpieces like they did before. I'm with you. I'm thinking the same thing, but I don't think, I hope they do, I hope they try it, but I just don't think they do, because once again, as I mentioned in a couple of my other videos, when bands reform from 2010, 2000 teens and whatever, to now, and then they try, and they go back into the studio to try to recreate magic and beat their best album that they did in the 80s, they usually don't do it. It just usually just doesn't happen. There's just, that magic isn't there anymore. But I hope they do. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and like this video, and thanks a lot for watching.